Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special bonus President's Message for the beginning of the year. There's just so much going on in NAPO that I felt like once a month wasn't enough. So I'm going to be visiting you all as many times as I can so that we can share information and exciting news that's going on in NAPO world. So today, I actually wanted to capitalize on the fact that at the beginning of the year, a lot of us are reflecting on our New Year's resolutions and sort of our goals and aspirations for the year. And one of my aspirations and goals for my business is to weave environmental sustainability into my business in a more meaningful way. That's something I've been working on for several years, and it just continues to be a priority of mine. So I thought for our conversation today, I would invite our one of our co-chairs for the EcoSig, Drew Price, is here with me today, and we're going to be talking about environmentally sustainable organizing. And just as a reminder, back in June of last year, your NAPO board actually created a new strategic guiding principle for NAPO. So we, in our highest level conversations, decided that this was a target that we wanted to hit for NAPO, and that we felt like this was a guiding principle that would serve all of our members and the entire ecosystem of organizing and productivity. So just as a reminder, that principle states, we create awareness of the social, economic, environmental, and health-related impacts of our actions or inactions and the global consequences for future generations. So Drew, welcome to the President's Message. It's great to have you
Thank you.
here.
It's great to be here.
So I'm actually a member of the EcoSig, so I get to see Drew in action running our meetings and coming up with our fabulous discussion topics. So Drew, why don't you tell everybody who may not be as familiar with you, how long have you been involved with NAPO? Tell us about you, your business, and your involvement with the EcoSig.
Yeah, I've been a NAPO member since I sort of started my professional organizing journey. So that was fall of 2020. And I joined the EcoSig in 2022. So I put in my 2 years as an eco organizer. And I just recently joined Kathy King as the co-lead, like you said.
Fabulous. And so tell everyone about the SIG itself. So what are the eligibility criteria to be a member of the EcoSig?
We're pretty straightforward with our membership criteria. We have two main things that we ask of our members. One is that you have some sort of stated commitment to sustainability, whether that's on your website or your social media, just something that shows outwardly that you are committed to eco organizing. And the other criteria is we ask that you have at least 2 years of eco organizing experience. And that's pretty similar to a lot of SIGs. We want this to be really in depth and a good group think situation. Um, but I think we're also flexible, I would say, in that sense, that if you have sustainability in the background from a previous career, we take that into account as well, because we just really want to hone in on those like eco sustainability skills.
Fantastic. And so how I know for myself how this SIG has supported my business, but I'm curious to hear from you since you've been involved longer than I have. How does involvement with the Eco SIG support your business?
It's been amazing for me, to be honest. We're a small but mighty group, and as you've seen in our discussions, we feed off of each other's energy. We get really creative with our ideas and how we can support each other. Being in the sustainability realm can kind of feel like an uphill battle sometimes, and
Mhm.
we're always there to sort of continue to lift each other up and move ourselves forward with that. So the topics and discussions range from open discussions of what is the best way to incorporate sustainability into our travel to summit this year, or we go really in depth with the founder of Buy Nothing and how she started that movement and how we can translate that to our businesses. So we run the gamut of things, and it's a really wonderful experience.
We really do. And there's so much idea sharing and support. Um, Actually, you mentioned it. So, my two favorite calls or meetings that we had this past year, in 2023 were the founder of Buy Nothing. I thought I was like watching a TED talk. It was so fascinating hearing about her mission and what drove her to found this amazing, amazing resource, and then how it's evolved since. Right. And my second was one that you led, actually, where you were helping us sort of reframe the way that we think about sustainability practices and not getting so discouraged when it seems like you're just bombarded by negative messages all the time. And it's like, what, kind of going beyond that feeling of futility, like I'm only one person, like what can I really do? So kudos to you, but I would concur and give you a resounding yes, that we have amazing content in the SIG right now. So have you heard about, well, no, you've heard about NAPO sustainability
Uh,
strategic principle because I've been shouting it from the rooftops, especially in the SIG. So Drew, why do you feel like this is exciting for NAPO?
I was so excited when you emailed us, and I know, like, right when you got out of that board meeting, you're like, I can't wait to share this with my EcoSig members, and we were so excited to hear it too. It's great that NAPO is getting this commitment down in your guiding principles, in our guiding principles, because it's really setting a precedent moving forward that NAPO has committed to using this as a lens with any decisions that they're making. And sustainability is so important. I mean, it has been forever, but I think just in the last decade alone, I think a lot of organizers are seeing how we relate to that community and knowing that NAPO is making that commitment um, to listen to members, but also to stay engaged and I think to even stay relevant. If you're not
Mhm.
sort of on board with this movement, um, it says something. So thank you for really, I think, helping move that forward for NAPO.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think that it's just as global citizens, like each one of us, both personally and professionally, has a role to play in the solution, right? And I acknowledge that. I think the conversations in the boardroom acknowledge as well that we're not going to get it right 100% of the time, right? Like it's unrealistic, but the spirit of NAPO and the mission of NAPO in terms of growing and moving forward and learning from each other and continuous improvement, right? Like these are all the values that we're putting into this initiative. So, learning from experts like our SIG colleagues. I mean, I just feel inspired every time we have a meeting because there's just so much more that I could do. And it's kind of exciting, actually. I think it's kind of the reverse of what we were just talking about. Like, instead of feeling kind of overwhelmed with the amount of work that needs to be done, feeling like I can actually raise the bar for myself in a continuous way is highly motivating for me. So I'm sure that's how it will feel with NAPO for a while, but we're headed in the right direction, certainly.
Absolutely. And I would say like the EcoSig is here to support that 100%. So if the board needs input or ideas, the EcoSig is so happy to support this initiative.
Yeah, I'm taking you up on that. So let's talk about SIG and SIG involvement for a minute, because you mentioned that it's a small but mighty group. It's one of the smaller size SIGs in NAPO, and I really hope with this sustainability initiative that we're going to be seeing many more professionals who are layering these practices into their organizing or productivity work. So, for someone who aspires to build their practice to the level of qualifying for the SIG, but maybe isn't quite there yet, what do you typically recommend? Or like, what are just three examples of small ways that someone could start to incorporate eco practices in their organizing or productivity work?
Well, I think, Min, you phrased it really well earlier when you said the board's not going to get it right 100% of the time. And we're not looking for that for our EcoSig members either. You don't need to be this perfect environmental steward. We just want people who are passionate about this to come together and, like I said, share ideas and support each other. And I think that people might be surprised that they might already have a lot of eco practices in their business already. So, you mean
Mhm.
at a baseline, if you're putting cardboard boxes in the recycling bin after a move, that is recycling. If you are
Mhm.
taking unwanted goods to a donation center that a client isn't using, but somebody else could, that's reusing. And if you're coaching your clients through how to not bring things that they don't need into their homes anymore, That's reducing. So you've got the three basic R's right there. And I think if we polled our members, a lot of people are already doing things like that. And so with the SIG, we just like to continue to go deeper in that. And Amy Olson led a great discussion recently of talking through how to talk to clients about items they already have in their home to organize stuff.
Mhm.
So they might not need to go buy things. Let's get creative and look at, coffee cans or, those little iPhone boxes as drawer organizers. So I think there's a lot of little things that our members are already doing. And I think that they just need to maybe sort of reframe it in the sense that they are being a sustainable organizer.
Mhm. I was just talking about this actually on a podcast recently that I feel like we are perfectly positioned to have a positive impact on our clients, right? Because we're in their environment, we're in their spaces, making recommendations about efficiency and about organizing systems and helping them understand their inventory, right? So, really, just at a very fundamental level, I see our work as intersecting very naturally with sustainability practices, like helping that client understand that they, when you go in all the nooks and crannies and you start pulling everything out, they realize that they have more than they need. And the next time they go to the store, they don't have to buy another, right? Like that to me is just at its most fundamental level, a way that we can help improve our entire community.
Exactly. And I think too that we have such intimate relationships often with our clients that we can have really good conversations with them about the things that they already own and if there's, sustainable swaps for it, or you're talking through a coaching session with someone of habits that they have and you can work in sort of eco tips of eco habits that they can develop as well. I think we're well placed as organizers to really help our clients get more on board with sustainable initiatives.
And I will say that since we added in my business, since we added our commitment to environmental sustainable practices, we have had prospects who have called in to inquire about services and have referenced that was really, the game changer that had them reaching out to us first, in a market that's, saturated with other competitors. So I think that's a really
Absolutely.
important thing to know too, is that the consumer wants this.
Yeah.
And when they find out that this is a specialty that we can offer, they get very excited.
Yeah.
So, what's one thing that you hope people listening to this president's message are going to take away from our conversation today, Drew?
Um, I just think that the awareness around sustainability is really what I'm hoping people will sort of get from this. That, like I mentioned multiple times, people are already doing these things and it's really great work. And I think that if they just sort of frame it, like you said, and if they put it on their website and say, these are the practices I'm doing to be a more eco conscious organizer, that's really going to help us as organizers overall just be better. And I would invite anyone who has felt compelled by this conversation to consider joining the EcoSig and see, how we can bring you into the fold and further develop your skills and your habits with sustainability. And, don't be afraid. Get that website statement posted there and then submit your application. And Kathy and I would love to have a conversation with you.
Fantastic. Well, Drew, I hope we can expand the community and continue the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and keep up the phenomenal work that you and Kathy are doing as leaders in our profession and really leading the charge for all the rest of us on this important issue.
Thank you, Mindy. I appreciate it.